Hello, and welcome back to a set of videos I am creating for my immersive audio class at New England School of Communications at Husson University, a set of videos dedicated to the Dolby Atmos album assembler. Students, you are to master your Atmos mixes this semester using this program. It's a pretty simple assignment. And important to note, especially for those of you out there on YouTube, hey, I'm going really simple. I'm going really quick here into this program. I'm not going to go into detail. Please consult other resources and look at the manual, check out other people's videos about Atmos Assembler, because I'm doing a quick and dirty overview here for my students. So it's a good survey, but hey, it's not in detail. So anyway, diving in, I've got an Atmos Assembler file already created. In the previous video, I talked about how to do that and some of the file management issues with it. I've got the files here ready to go. I can listen to them. I can jump around in time and pick where I want to hear them. And as long as I've got the Atmos renderer open in the background and it's in input mode, I can listen in immersive, which is pretty cool. And so jumping around in time is a little kludgy. There's a better way to do it, and that's making markers. And so you can, at any point in time here on the timeline, you can insert a marker. The better thing to do, I think, is to just use this feature here, the third one down here under timeline, insert markers at Dolby Atmos clip boundaries. This creates all the markers for you at once for all of your ADMs. They let you select the markers. You can also select and edit marker names here under the marker list, under window, song markers. You can jump between them. And probably the biggest advantage of creating the markers is it lets you jump between songs really easily. You can use Command and the arrow keys and jump back and forth between songs, and you can't do that until you make the markers, as far as I can tell. So that's pretty useful. So make your markers, people. As for editing, it kind of follows the program. The Atmos Assembler basically follows Pro Tools. You've got shuffle mode. You can rearrange your songs quickly. You do have a level of undo, one level undo. I'm going to hit undo here and put it back where it was. Do note you only have one level of undo. Hopefully Dolby adds more levels of undo in the future. You've got snap, where when you drag files around, they snap to the end of the previous audio file, so that's pretty useful. And then you have trim, which grants a little bit more free form sliding around in time. You can also use slip mode there to trim your files. And you can also use trim to overlap files and then play with crossfades, which is pretty useful. Side note regarding the crossfades, yeah, you can make them of different length, but you don't really have any parameters regarding the crossfades. It's pretty simple. And there are some parameters down there regarding optimization. See, here's the deal. Crossfades may not be perfect sonically. It's very complicated to crossfade ADMs. ADMs can have up to 128 channels. And each channel, each object can have its own pan location and its own binaural settings. And how do you crossfade from one to the other if the panning disagrees, right? So there can be some complications here. Use your ears. If you want to know more about it, look at the manual, watch some other videos online. I'm not going to go into depth, but just be aware that that is a potential issue. I'm going to undo this crossfade. I cannot undo the creation of the location of the file. I'm going to move it over here and extend the links back. Oops, didn't mean to do that. And I'm going to put it back in place where it was. Okay, last thing to talk about before I end this video, and that is the very cool stereo reference feature here. When you mix in Atmos, if you're mixing an album in Atmos, chances are it's already been released in stereo or it's going to be released in stereo. And it's important, and the record labels mandate that your Atmos mixes be the exact same length and start and end in the same place as the stereo files. And this is important, so if you're using a streaming service and you switch between the Atmos version and the stereo version, they're in the same place in time. So if you're going to master some Atmos mixes and mess around with them and trim them and edit them, you got to make sure they line up with the stereo version. And Atmos Assembler lets you do this, and it's pretty hip how it does. It lets you import the stereo version. So go File, Import Stereo Wave, and for this demonstration, I've got the 3 stereo waves, the original stereo mixes of these songs, and I import them, and they're down here, and you can see they line up with the Atmos version. So you can make sure to keep everything in time. And even hipper, you can compare the sound difference between the stereo versions and the Atmos version. So if I press play here on this track and I listen to it, you can see if I go to Atmos Render, you can see I'm listening in multi-channel. If I click this button in Assembler here, Stereo Reference, I can see I can listen to, in this case, the much louder stereo version. So that's pretty cool. And note you do have a gain knob here, so you can compensate for that level difference if you want to. But this lets you switch between the two. So really cool program, lots of neat options that it brings to the Atmos world. And I will make one more video here that just demonstrates for the students some basic mastering in this program, EQ, gain, level limiting, that sort of stuff. Okay? Have a great day. Bye-bye.